1v1 situation when Mr. Mime is live.
ほう、向かってくるのか。
近づかなきゃてめえをぶちのめせないんでな。
Walmart, so. Maybe your Lepanto was AFK. Could have farmed him. I know my Republic is gonna just delete him.
Nice aim.
Algora gameplay.
Where are you even aiming at, Lamau?
At the turret traverse. No, not the turret traverse. Actually, I think you're dead, Mr. Mime.
Yeah, you should have just gone around me. Like, I don't know what you should have assassinated around me. Do I need to do a video on assassination runs? I believe we absolutely need to do that past Sly. So everyone, today, hi, I'm Sly47. I'll be your teacher to assassinations in World of Warships Blitz. Let's get this class started. Now, first up, we must define what an assassination run is. To me, an assassination run is a semi-suicidal, killshot, or devastating strike run on particularly battleships and heavy cruisers, the larger ships in this game. Now, while you could die during this, or they could die during this, I would highly suggest you do not do assassination runs on light cruisers or other DDs. Depending on the circumstance, you can, but I would highly suggest practicing exactly how I'm going to be showing you today with the assassination run, and then you can go on from there and learn on your own on how to do it towards those ships. Another little warning though I would say is don't do this to HMS battleships, as they have the HE to nuke you, and don't do this on the Italian battleship line, as they have the SAP to nuke you. So unless you want to be on the brunt end of a nice large slap, pick your targets properly. Now, Mr. Mime in the original clip did a bit of a failure in it. While he still did deliver a devastating strike of torpedoes on me, he did not deliver the kill shot, and then the secondary movement after it allowed me to deliver the kill shot on him and still be alive afterwards. So let's go into exactly why Mr. Mime screwed up and what I would have done in his shoes against especially the ship that I was in. Now, before I get too far into this video, I do want to give a special shout out to the player in the first clip of this video, Mr. Mime. He's an amazing content creator for World of Warships Blitz, joins often on stream, and while I got him in this clip, there are plenty of other clips with him killing me instead, so go check them out and subscribe if you haven't. Now, I have brought out the whiteboard for this, as we need to mock and talk about every single part of all of our movements here. I am ignoring the third player shooting at Mr. Mime in the situation, as I mostly just want to talk about the two players that tend to be in that situation of an assassination run. The heavier ship and the DD or light cruiser making the run specifically. So we will be ignoring the Friesland's movements, as much as Mr. Mime most likely was going to die from them as well. His movements past that allowed me to get the kill in comparison to the other player. And his failures are often a failure point of many players making an assassination run. So it's a good example, not completely showing the problem, but everyone can extrapolate from this. So, as we can see here in the first motion, Mr. Mime is trying to show as little of a silhouette to me as possible by making sure he is bow in, absolutely coming down and bearing down on my battleship in order to make sure to just straight up hit me with all of his torpedoes while taking the least amount of damage. The problem that you can see is actually in the second one. Mr. Mime ran into my ship, losing the speed advantage that his ship has in comparison to my incredibly slow turrets of the Marlborough. The Kiev lives off speed. It dies when it's very slow, similar to the Kleber line. From here, you can see the torpedoes were launched off in the second set, and as Mr. Mime ran away, he started to turn right, which means that basically I, turning left, immediately had all of my guns capable of hitting him. This was exposing too much of a silhouette, allowing me to actually kill him. Now, what could have Mr. Mime done in this situation in comparison? So, in the ship that I was at, Battleship, turret traverse is incredibly slow. In the first section, you can see once again, he's coming towards me, showing the smallest silhouette. I am turning in because I'm expecting him to show a full broadside on the side that I'm pre-turning my turrets on, on my left side. But in turn, what he could have done is not run into me. That was really the main failure point that I wanted to highlight, is the Kiev lives and dies on speed. You have to keep it moving. And with how slow the Marlborough's turrets are, well, guess what? He could have dodged most of my shells, and even during the example, you even saw I had to fire on his entire stern just to get some shots off because of how slow the Marlborough's turret speed is. And from there, he knew I was also turning left. So if he would have driven right by me, he could have showed a small silhouette while allowing his arcs of his torpedoes to actually fire behind him and have me turning, just basically turning right into his torpedoes while still showing an incredibly small silhouette for my battleship. Even though I'm showing a broadside to him, he now has full control of how much silhouette he shows, and I just run into his torpedoes. Another option is the Kiev is, of course, nimble. Your DD compared to a battleship. I was pre-turning to go to the left. So simply, go left. This is a common tactic that's called a perpendicular attack within the assassination run, and I will cover this as an option in the next sections of this video. And what I would suggest is you simply go around on the other side that they're pre-turning to expect you, and just simply shoot them in the back with torpedoes. And in this case, they could have run away at that point and taken a lot less damage than what they did in the example. Now let's cover other situations you might be when you are performing an assassination run. Now from this is the perpendicular attack, sideways attack, whatever you want to call it. This is probably one of the most typical situations you will be in an assassination run, as you have a battleship or heavy cruiser simply sailing straight. Now, if you can, try to shoot your torpedoes from concealment and not be spotted while you just watch as your torpedoes slowly swim their way to your target. But if you are spotted, a sideways perpendicular attack on this can be devastating while you're taking minimal amounts of damage from the target. As you can see, coming in from a perpendicular right here, you actually want to legitimately miss your target. What you're going for is using that turret traverse that battleships commonly do not have against them, to the point that once they finally go, hey, I want to fire my main guns, you are going fast enough alongside their stern or their bow that their guns can't keep up. And this allows you to have your torpedoes pre-aimed, pre-turned, specifically when you want to launch those torpedoes off. So as you can see, the purple indicates you could launch them prior or after. After, I would say, is the better one, because once again, their guns are pointed at you on the wrong side now. And even their secondaries are now all having to turn to try to converge on you, so you have no guns on you on the opposite side of it. So a perpendicular attack is incredibly powerful towards many ships that have very slow turret traverse speed. Now, what do you do after if you have not killed your target with those torpedoes? As you can see, I have a rinse, wash, repeat sign right there. As you just go do it again, pretty much what you'll do is you'll just spin around, making sure to show the smallest silhouette to whatever side of the ship has the least amount of guns on it, and or start gunning it down by using your AP on the bow, stern, and superstructure. I will have a video soon covering that exact topic if you do not know about that. If not, join up on stream and I will definitely show you at some time. But at this point, you just want to make sure that you are showing the smallest silhouette while delivering the most amount of damage while your torpedoes reload, or just gun them down and put them into the port as quick as possible from this attack. Next up on another situation is a frontal attack on both ships. This ship is running away or backing up, it really doesn't matter at this point. And what you'll want to do is you will make sure, once again, show the smallest silhouette possible to the target while you are pushing on them. Once again, you probably have the speed to beat them in terms of everything, so you will. Now, of course, in this one, you have an option, and this will be completely dictated on where their guns are, because of course, you'll want to go on the side that has the least amount of guns pointed at you. And from there, you're going to want to launch your torpedoes, not particularly when you are on their broadside. You actually want to launch them after the ship. And why I say after is because some DDs can literally hide underneath the main guns of many battleships in this game. So you literally can just run up a side, pretty much you'll have the sailors on both sides just yelling at each other insults as you just just go right by, passing them, and only launching them once you clear the aft turrets of the ship, launching your torpedoes on where that battleship will be trying to back up into or run away from. What this allows you to is clearly dictate the rules of engagement within this fight, and allowing you to launch torpedoes particularly when you want to, but also choose how much of a broadside you want to show when you need to launch those torpedoes off, all while reducing the number of guns that this ship has pointed at you. Now we have to actually combine the perpendicular attack and the frontal attack. Why? Because in this example, your battleship that you're going after has learned that they actually can use their ship traverse to aid their horrible turret traverse. They want to show a large broadside to you to make sure that they can get as many guns on you as possible. So in this situation, you'll actually start out with a frontal attack, trying to basically get as close to them as possible to mitigate that advantage that they're trying to gain by using their ship traverse to aid their bad turret traverse. But in this example, what you're actually going to see is now, instead of having the option of before or after in a perpendicular attack, they are actually aiding in the advantage of you being able to fire off your torpedoes early, which allowing them to basically run directly right into your torpedoes, potentially killing them before they can get their broadside off, because of course you'll be finally showing a good enough broadside when you launch those torpedoes. But once again, you're going to have that advantage to choose when and where, because you're going to be close to them, negating that advantage that they're trying to use with their ship traverse, all while most likely letting them just literally turn right into a very easy arc for you to fire off your torpedoes with, and just swim right past them across their bow or their stern, depending on the situation. And then, once again, you're on the opposite side of their guns, allowing you to do more damage with your guns if you didn't kill them with your torpedoes. Now, to add on to that, certain ships in this game have good enough torpedo arcs that actually in step 2, you literally can just let the enemy run directly right into your torpedoes, showing only a broadside, not even having to go past their stern or bow to perform a perpendicular attack. You can basically just goat them into firing a very small silhouette of you while they just run directly right into your torpedoes. Now, some people might be asking, what happens if I have torpedoes on both sides and they aren't just all centerline torpedoes? So in this example, I actually am using the Udaloi in this situation. I've got one centerline and one on each side. From here, we have a frontal attack. You will actually just continue to do it just like any other frontal attack, except in this situation, you are actually going to go across and do an S-curve on the enemy, allowing them and basically forcing them to try to switch over from one side to the other, allowing you to basically run away from them, all while getting prepped and ready to have your torps on the opposite side ready when you finally make your turn. Thus, you can adjust and figure out exactly how you want to do it, but I would suggest an S-shaped kind of curve after you drop one side of torpedoes. Go for the other side after you kind of goaded them into trying to hit you over there. Thus, you turn away, making all of their time trying to switch over to hit you going one way. You now have gone the completely opposite way and launched torpedoes on them. So use the S-curve when you are dealing with ships that have non-centerline torpedoes, per se, like the Udaloi, Kleber line, and many others. And that is all for class today. I specifically wanted to cover assassination runs first, as I've been seeing a lot of destroyers mess this up and get sent back to port very quickly and not be able to do their full entire assassination run. So I thought I'd help out there. I do have other novice subjects coming up, but please let me know in the comment section down below if you have any suggestions for me to cover in a future class like this. And also let me know if you enjoyed this style of video, or how I could improve it or anything. Finally, thank you all again for watching. If you enjoyed today's video or learned anything from it, tap that like button, subscribe if you haven't, hit the notification bell for alerts whenever I go live or a new video releases. I have one link to rule them all down below in the description if you want to watch on any streaming platforms, join up on Discord and more. Special shout out to my Patreon, YouTube, and Super Chat supporters. Thank you all so much for your continued support in making all this happen. Hope you all enjoyed today's video. Peace.